Oh yes, this is the Hardcore Marketing Show. I'm Casey Cheshire, your host for this epic journey. And today's show, sponsored by Cheshire Impact, on a mission to help people maximize their use of Pardot and Salesforce. CheshireImpact.com. Bam. Oh yeah, there we go. We just hit a button and we're just magically recording into the gigabytes, into the realm. Now you're hearing this on Spotify or wherever you are. YouTube, perhaps you might be on there. And the reason why that's important, and even meta, if you're watching this on YouTube, this is going to be so meta because my guest today is awesome. He's a fun guy. I've talked to him for about 10 minutes before this, and we're like, we should probably record something. He is a founder. He's a marketer. He's an entrepreneur. And most importantly, an expert in the world of YouTube video, not only the creation side, but the ad strategy side. Founder and president of the AppFind Channel on YouTube. Gotta check that out. He's earned over 100,000 subscribers. What does that even feel like? We'll find out. Actually, now up to 456, probably more, thousands. What's it up to now?
Yeah, it's over 460,000 subscribers. Yeah.
Jeez, and now we'll add a couple more million to that after listening to this podcast. Founder and president of AdOutreach, Aleric Heck. Welcome to the show, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited to dive into it.
Man, I think I saw you on YouTube. I was learning from you, and I'm like, I gotta get this guy on here, and I gotta pick his brain and learn from you. Video is a thing that I think for a while was just like, it's so hard, but YouTube, that dirty creature, she's still around. She's getting, more and more popular. I liked watching YouTube way more than I like watching TV. And so here you are, and I want to just pass this to you. Hold on a second. It's kind of heavy. Okay. All right, here you go. Here you go. Thor's hammer. You got it? You got it?
All
right.
Got it.
2 hands. Nice safe technique there.
Exactly.
Like been doing this before. Take Thor's hammer, smash for me some kind of myth, bogus strategy, misconception. Just set the record straight once and for all.
Absolutely. So the biggest myth in the world of YouTube ads that I'm going to bust is, people thinking you could just create these 30, 60-second ads and have that be something that is going to give you the conversions that you want. That's actually going to, give you the best results on YouTube. What I found is that ads on YouTube, like organic content, we'll talk about my background of, building an organic channel and then going to the advertising side later. But ads like organic, it needs to have an ad that actually educates people, provides value, teaches them about your product, service, solution, whatever it happens to be that you're offering, that you're actually able to showcase that in your ad that feels like a natural video. So the biggest myth that I have is people think you need to create this overly produced, 30, 60-second TV style ad. The truth is we've all been attuned to tune those out whenever we see them. People skip those ads. The ads that people watch are the ads that feel like natural YouTube videos where you have a hook, you pull the people in, you educate, you provide some value, and then you have a call to action to get your product, service, or solution. And that's the big myth, is busting those perfect 30, 60-second, everything is to a T, and actually creating a natural ad and creating something that feels like a YouTube video.
All right, we're going to get into like how to do that and what that, but this makes sense and actually feels great to hear this, because my hang up, and I mentioned a little bit of it earlier, was I don't have a production studio. I've got a podcast crew. Woo! But but prior to even that, it's like, I don't have a television studio. I don't know anything about that. And I'm sure, whatever company, a lot of people are listening in, they're like, I don't know, we're not going to get investment for that. But it's like, good, you don't need that anymore. In fact, you're right. We tune those out, don't we?
Yes.
We're like good at that. I'm really good at that. I can go to sleep with ads on. I don't even notice it. Do you ever see that Black Mirror show where they made the guy open his eyes to watch the ads?
Yeah.
When he closed them?
Oh, yeah, no, I saw. It's a crazy. I love
cool.
Black Mirror is, but the scariest thing is when some of the Black Mirror episodes start to come true. You're like, oh, geez.
Right? It's like, was that time travel or was that just really creative? Like really creative script writing or something? Okay, so got it. So good. So we're saying that good. You don't have the ability to do those, and you shouldn't do those. You shouldn't try to act like you're, on cable TV. You're not. So what does it look like? And how basic can I just shoot on my iPhone, or like, maybe we'll get into the tactical at some point, but
Yeah.
the content is education,
Yeah.
not all about me. I think a lot of people do too much of the me stuff.
Exactly. You need to provide value. Remember,
Mm.
how would you like people to serve an advertisement to you? What do you respond to, right? And I feel like people take themselves or what they like or what they look at out of the equation, when really you got to think about, okay, well, these are people that you're trying to reach, and there's a human element. So, the best camera that you have to film a natural video, it's not the best production camera, but you can take your iPhone, you've got a great camera already there on your iPhone, and you can produce a video. There's a tool called, and obviously I know you know this, but some of the listeners, right, you might not know, there's a gimbal. You can take a gimbal, which is a tool that stabilizes your iPhone, and it's like $100 tool, and you get it off of Amazon, and it stabilizes your phone, and you can record a video that feels incredibly natural. It's professional enough because it's not shaking all over the place. It's stable.
Ah. Do you have a gimbal you recommend? Because
Yes.
I don't even have one.
The Dji Osmo Mobile 3. And I think it's like $120 on Amazon. And it is one of the best tools that you can get for your video, because all you have to do is you take that device and it stabilizes your phone. You just strap your phone into it. It takes 2 seconds. And then you turn on your phone's camera. You don't have to do anything else. What it does is it stabilizes it. So if you're moving, your hands moving around, right? It's kind of like it's not like a selfie stick because it's not as long, but it's kind of a shorter version. But imagine it stabilizing the camera. So now the camera stays steady. Your hand can be moving.
That's epic.
Yeah, it's steady. It's incredible. It's a huge, hack for producing your videos.
What was it called again? Because I think you ramble off like 9 things. It's
a DJI Osmo Mobile 3. It is a gimbal. So the device is called, it's a gimbal, but the one that I like is the DJI Osmo Mobile 3. It's the same company that makes some of these big drones and things like that, but they have this for your iPhone.
That shake, I could see how just getting ready a little bit of a shake, and then now you're that much more professional walking around or whatnot.
I found that's the best, because the thing is, if not everybody has the desire or budget or even the need to hire a major production studio, hire a person to have a camera. But then also, I mean, obviously what we're doing right now works for an interview or a podcast, right, where we're kind of on screens and this is my computer and a webcam. But that might not be as dynamic enough for a YouTube video. So what I've found is taking your iPhone, stabilizing it a little bit, or even if you just hold your iPhone, right? But obviously the stabilization is better. It feels natural. You can walk around. You could be walking around your office. You can be walking outside. We have plenty of people walk down the beach and different areas down the street. Obviously people from all kinds of industries. So whether it's like an online business, you're teaching people something, or people in real estate walking down the street and pointing out different properties, or if you have a home like this and you're looking to whatever it is, and it's just a dynamic way. And remember, you want to connect with people as a person. You want them to see you and trust you and gain that desire to either work with you if it's more of a client-based, kind of B2B coaching, consulting, if you're a consultant, right? That's so important. Obviously, if it's a product or something online that they're going to buy, more simplified, then you want to represent that well and demo that and go through that. So it's basically, actually getting people to trust you and take action.
Yeah, it's a little bit extra. It's not like the railroad tracks with a movie camera on it. Like a full production studio with the shrimp cocktail and the actresses on the side.
I wish, but no.
True. Maybe just get the gimbal and the shrimp cocktail from the grocery store, and you're good.
Exactly. Off to the side there.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Coffee break for me. Shrimp.
Yeah, exactly.
Coffee. I don't know about shrimp and coffee, but okay. So your point though, like just a little bit of that extra polish can make that video. I mean, you'll still be personable, but we don't need like the Blair Witch trial here. We don't need like the super shaky camera. People get sick watching it, don't want to see it. Looks like it's a Facebook video. Instead, just a little bit of extra touch. But you're right. They got to see you, and build that relationship. Here's that quote. If people like you, they'll listen, but if they trust you, then they'll do business with you. Right. And that whole concept of it.
Exactly. And that's why we talk about not just doing a 30-second ad either, a 30 or 60-second ad, because how much trust can you build in 30 or 60 seconds? How much value can you provide?
True.
If you, especially because we were talking, I know you have a lot of people, like a lot of consultants and a lot of people who are like, kind of doing that type of thing, B2B or whatever, it's one of those areas where you have to sell yourself as a consultant, as a coach, as like, somebody who's going to be training and providing value. And so what I found is if you have a video and you're not only introducing yourself and talking about the problem, because you have that hook, right? So you capture people's attention, you talk about the problem, how you're going to help them solve it. You introduce yourself a little bit, but then you educate. This is what a lot of people leave out. You want to provide value. If you are giving value, I call it golden nuggets on your ad. People are going to trust you. They're going to see you as the expert. They're going to see you as, consultant or a business person that they're going to want to do business with. Or if, obviously if you have a service or SaaS software or whatever, if you're providing this value, you're telling, hey, this is what's going to solve your problem. You're doing a demo, same thing. People are going to see your product or yourself as that solution. And then by the time you get to the call to action, you have all of this goodwill that you've generated. People already see you as the expert, as the solution to their problem. And so when you tell them to sign up, for your email list or for a webinar or to get a free download or to buy, it could even be to buy, some type of product or service or whatever it is, they're going to be much more likely to do it because they now trust you.
Mm-hmm. It's so counterintuitive, right? Because you'd think, okay, you've heard like people's attention spans are short. I even had someone debating me this on LinkedIn the other day. They're like, podcasts should be like 5 seconds long. And, people's attention spans are so short. So that would argue like, oh, I got to get that 30-second, that 15-second ad in. But all they have time is for like some splashy logo saying like, look how cool we are. And you're like, I don't care. Like, get out of the way. I mean, I pay money just to not have YouTube ads because they're so annoying, So, but this is totally different. Like I start to see the possibilities of like, what could you teach somebody? I mean, how long can you go?
Yeah. So, I mean, actually it's technically, well, I mean, it's not technically infinite, but you could go, I mean, I don't recommend, you could theoretically go hours, but you don't want to do that, obviously.
Infinite ad.
Yeah. An infinite ad, it never stops. But what we typically recommend is going to be a 3 to 6 minute long ad. That's our sweet spot. Because you want to have a hook that's usually about 30 seconds. Now, I know you know this, but a lot of people who are listening right now, they might not know. You only pay if somebody watches on YouTube, if somebody watches more than 30 seconds of the ad, right? So if they're actually interested, if somebody skips the ad, there's different types of YouTube ads, but with the general in-stream ads, you're doing a CPV, which means cost per view. You're paying per view. It's a true view. And a true view is a video view that's more than 30 seconds long. And so what you want to do is you want to basically pull in the right person with your hook, push away the wrong person. You want the wrong person. Yep.
Can we deconstruct that? Deconstruct the hooks. I know you've mentioned a couple times.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll give a couple of examples because I think this is really, really relevant to people because they're like, well, what do you mean by that? So a couple examples. The first hook that was a huge hook, and it's actually kind of funny. I was on a podcast the other day where somebody's like, I've heard you say that, but I've also heard a bunch of other people. I'm like, yeah, a lot of people have kind of taken some, but the hook that we had that we ran for a long time that I still have people. I go to some of these events like Funnel Hacking Live, like ClickFunnels events or whatever.
Yeah.
And people are like, hey, hijack YouTube ads. But the original hook that we had is, what if you could ethically hijack your competitors' traffic and send it directly into your own funnel? Well, we're going to show you exactly how you can do just that using YouTube video ads. So let's hop over to my computer. But you see here, intrigue gets people interested, right? Yeah. It tells them exactly what they're going to get. I'm going to show you how you can, hijack other people's traffic, send it into your own funnel, and YouTube adds the mechanism, and we're going to show you how this works. But here's the thing. It uses jargon to push away the wrong people. If you don't know what a funnel is, or if you don't know, if you think traffic isn't website traffic and it's, just the traffic on the interstate, I mean, you're going to skip the ad. You have no idea what I'm talking about. Like traffic.
You don't want them to listen because that's just going to waste your ad spend.
Exactly. So this is what people get wrong. They just think that, like, I'm going to solve all of your problems, but then, you can't, you're not actually doing that. You're not actually serving everybody. So if you call out the industry or if you have subtle ways, so notice I didn't actually say a specific industry, but I use these buzzwords that's going to, like, people resonate with, jargon that resonate with, but then pushing away people who don't resonate with it. And then, the other way to do hooks, so that's one big one. The other one is,
now that we kind of know about that, could you just say that hook again so we can kind of like,
So what if you could ethically hijack your competitor's traffic and send it directly into your own funnel? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can do just that using YouTube video ads, just like the one you're watching right now. So let's hop over to my computer screen. I'm going to show you exactly how this works. So funny how I have that, like, It's
That's great,
ingrained.
man.
Laser,
Do
it's a
your friends ever
laser.
have you do that at like a party? Like a party
I know.
trick?
Yeah, it's just a
Aleric,
party
do it again.
remix time.
Right.
But and so that's
I see what you're
yeah.
doing, but I think it's important to note that it's
Mhm.
just as valuable to exclude as is
Yes.
include, and probably the people thinking that they want 100% the true view rate, you know, of like, oh, everyone listens. Like, yeah, you're intriguing, but you're intriguing everybody. Don't do that. You know.
The amount of people who come through and they ask because they see the view, there's a metric called a view rate on YouTube, and they're like, my view rate is low. I want I want half the people who see my ad to like watch 30 seconds. But you really want that. It's
Right.
like that's not the metric to worry about. The metric to worry about is, what's the click-through rate, what's the conversion rate, how much, what's the return? And obviously that's the big one. And so I think it's so important to know that because you're not paying for it. People are used to Facebook, right? Where every impression you're paying for. And
Yeah.
that's the problem. But on YouTube, that's not the case. You're only paying if they watch 30 seconds. And so you're only paying for the people really interested. So another hook that I have, and this is one that we're doing more and more these days, especially as we kind of broaden our market, but also just to, kind of create something a little bit new. And we found that this is working a little bit better these days is we still run the other one, but this new one's kind of the new top hook that we have is, it's use a different method, right? So I'll talk about it in a second. So it's YouTube ads beat Facebook ads every time. Let's face it, Facebook ad costs are going through the roof. It feels like a roller coaster going up and down. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can cut your lead costs in half just by using YouTube video ads, just like the one you're watching right now. So let's hop over to my computer screen. I'm going to show you how that works. And so you can see how this one has more of a divisive, right? So, wait a second. He's saying YouTube ads beat Facebook ads every time. Whether you agree with that or you disagree with that, and probably more people go into it disagreeing, but they want to be proven wrong.
Probably some people don't even know, so they're like,
yeah, they don't even know, right? Exactly. Or not disagreeing based on fact that they know, but like basically like, oh, I do Facebook ads, what? What do you mean ads are better, right? That type of thing. So not necessarily disagreeing based on information, but more on like, no, this is what I do, and then they start watching, right? Because they kind of have. But again, also, and again, it's not as industry jargon like funnels and stuff like that, but it still uses YouTube ads, Facebook. Like if you're not interested in ads, you're going to be bored. You're not going to watch that video. And then it's the same thing, right? And then I basically give, the lead costs are going through the roof. And I did a lot of testing on this too. And that bold statement at the beginning works better than just saying right off the bat, Facebook ad costs are going through the roof. Those ads work, but they don't work as well. And it's very interesting because obviously we have the data now to back that up, in that leading with the statement and then talking about their shared experience. Because here's the thing, they might, because they only use Facebook ads, they're like, what do you mean? But then they're like, yeah, Facebook ads are really up and down. It's like a roller coaster. And then they're like, maybe he is onto something. And then they want to keep, exactly. And then when I say, hey, let's hop over to my computer screen, it's hard to look away.
Right. And let me show you. And that's sort of the transition period to the next thing. And if people want to click through, great. Otherwise, they're out.
Yeah. But notice I show people, because the mistake other people make is they say, sign up for my webinar and I'll show you why. But there's not enough substance, right? People are like, okay, some people will sign up, but not enough. But if I actually show them a little bit, right? And I prove to them, wait a second, here's what you can do with YouTube. One of the things I talk about is you only pay if somebody watches 30 seconds.
Right.
I show how you could target specific videos and keywords, right? And run your ad in front of other videos on YouTube and imagine the possibilities of that, right? I think I even use like a coaching example or consultant example where it's like, well, this is more coaching, but like imagine if you're targeting people in front of Tony Robbins videos, but then they're also, like maybe you cater to a certain group of people like business owners who are interested in Tony Robbins, you put your video in front of that. And so it starts getting the wheels turning. Now they're like, wait a second.
You get them thinking.
I could do this. And then you have the call to action that's in the webinar. I'm going to show you how. And then people are like, wait a second. Okay, so now I've discovered the what and the why, but I need the how. And essentially, obviously on the webinar, we get a little bit into the how, but of course, usually that is the mechanism that you're selling. So, we don't say exactly, we're going to show you how on the web, but we're going to show you more on the webinar, that type of thing. Then on the webinar, you dive a little bit, you give them a taste of the how. So you give them a little demo, but then you say there's so much more that you can do. And then that's where you obviously encourage people to to schedule for us is scheduling a strategy call. And notice it's literally, it's this value, it's value time and time again. Couple golden nuggets on the video ad, and then a handful on the webinar. And then, and then people think that there's going to be a sale, and then there's not. It's a strategy call. It's a 45-minute strategy call where it's pure value, no commitment. You don't have to pay for it. You just book a free strategy call with our team, 45 minutes, and then they get value on there too. And people are expecting, to just get pitched, but they actually get value. They actually get information. All right, here's the strategy. Let's dive into your business. Okay, here's how we recommend doing it. And then, of course, we have our offer to work with them. But by this point, also people are going through this and they're seeing that we're delivering every single time. And then, now we've given them a couple handfuls of golden nuggets. They could leave at that moment, genuinely. Right. And they could get a little, and obviously, what we want to show people is that, with our YouTube ads, we're going to fast track the learning curve, but they could get, where they wanted to go with a learning curve with what we've given them. And so I think that is so valuable, because then when people get on the call and you say, hey, we've got the whole pot of gold right here, and that's what we can offer you. And I think especially for consultants, coaches, course creators, people who are in this kind of, space where you're selling yourself and it's kind of a service-based, or it's consulting-based or coaching-based, that's the way to do it. Provide value at each step of the process, genuine value that people can take. And then obviously you have your solution that's all in one, and will fast track the learning curve of taking those bits and pieces and lets you actually implement.
What does this work in the B2B world? Does this work in marketers who are, they're a part of the team and they've got products, and maybe it's like financial accounting software for manufacturers, it's something like that, or in the healthcare space, but it just still go back to the value point. You just, no matter what you're doing, you're back to that.
Exactly. So I'll give one specific example, but I'll give a range of examples too. Yeah. There are people literally in shipping and logistics that we've run YouTube ads to get in front of people to have them ship with them. We've had people who are, kind of, now some will be B2B consultants, right? And so we have a lot of those. And I know you said you have a lot of listeners who might fall into that as well. That's actually literally everything I just explained. That's kind of the classic right example of, you might have your consulting webinar, but this would just be targeting decision makers. We'll talk about household income targeting, how you could target decision makers in a company, and not just the video they watch, but who they are as well. There's a lot of fancy stuff.
That'd be good to get into targeting. Yeah,
we'll get into that.
We'll get that.
Exactly. And then on the other side, right, we also have people that are, going after people who have more complex decisions, decisions to make. And so one of them is we have somebody who does full suite setup of Infusionsoft, right? Okay. And so they're targeting people who have Infusionsoft. These are big companies usually, that a lot of companies have Infusionsoft, but they work with big companies that have Infusionsoft doing a complex setup. And instead of having your internal team do it, they're going to come in and basically, set this up. Yeah. What we're doing is, think about it. We're targeting the, decision makers. So people who are in the top 20% of income earners, right? And that's typically what we'll do. And we'll talk. Google, it's household income. It's not zip code. Facebook, it's all zip code these days. You used to have household. They got rid of that. On Google, though, you could target people based on individual income. So top 20%. That's how we know.
How do they know that? Come on.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the crazy thing though, is Google. Remember, this is Google. They know what your shopping habits are, anything that has Google Analytics. They know what device you're on. I've seen stuff, and again, they don't reveal their algorithm. And I'm sure it's not perfect, but here's the thing. I'm very confident in their ability to know who's in the top percentage. Maybe they don't know 1% from 3% from 5%, but I think that the top 20%, I think they can be pretty confident in
buying the same kind of stuff. Yeah,
exactly. And that is what I've seen, and that we've rolled this out. Top in income targeting to a lot of our clients, and it's incredible the results that you get in the B2B. So this is B2B. B2B usually will do top 20, kind of what I would call business to entrepreneur, right? Maybe top 30 or 40%, right? So that's kind of, maybe people are looking to kind of maybe leave the 9-to-5 and do entrepreneurial thing as well. But top 20% works really, really well. And so what he's doing, we're targeting top 20%. People who are watching videos on how to set up Infusionsoft, right?
Oh, I get it. So you're able to, you have some demographics there, but then you also are, what are they, like the intent? What are they looking at now?
I call this our 3D YouTube ads targeting. So demographics.
Okay.
What they're watching. So this is their intent, right? So the videos they're watching. So the demographics that they're in, household income is a big one for us. Then you have what they're watching right now. And that could be videos on Infusionsoft, etc. And here's the thing. A lot of people just go in and all they do is placements, right? They basically just do, placement ads, and they just select a bunch of individual videos. That's good at the start for low-hanging fruit, but it's hard to scale that because there's only so many views on individual videos. So then they start to go into keywords, and so they'll do, Infusionsoft, or they'll do these different keywords, or, if they're targeting something else, right, whatever it happens to be. But in this case, Infusionsoft, how to set up Infusionsoft, keywords like that. But what we found is you could take it one step further. This is a third dimension. A lot of people just start with those two, and they can get good results, but either they have problems scaling if they're too narrow, or if they're too broad, then they have problems getting as good at conversions. So what we found is the solution to that is to add a third component, which a lot of people don't even know you can do on Google, is audiences and affinities. So you can actually put in an audience of people that have an affinity to Infusionsoft. So the same way on Facebook, you can add interest audiences like that, right? So interest in Infusionsoft. You can also do what they've searched before in the past on Google. There's in-market audiences. So one of them is in the market for email marketing services, legitimately, that you could do in this example. There's a lot of those. And then there's also, and this is what I call the industry secret. It's incredible, URL affinity targeting. You can target people based on websites they've been on in the past. And they do this with Google Analytics. So it's not all websites necessarily, but it's the ones that have Google Analytics, so the majority of websites, right?
Yeah.
You can target people who have been on these websites or on similar sites. So you can put that in as well. And over here, they're now watching a video. So if they've been on Infusionsoft.com, they're watching videos about Infusionsoft, and they're in the top 20% income earners. You could also, instead of, been on Infusionsoft, you could also layer with, business and et cetera. So there's other things you can do. And then you're creating this perfect triangle, and you're finding that ideal buyer in the middle. Now, is it going to be perfect for every single view? Not necessarily, but collectively, that's how you make sure that those ideal clients are right there in the center. And that is how you can keep getting these results time and time again. We talked about, multiple 8 figures in sales using YouTube video ads. That's the secret right there.
That's the secret. Now, for those particular guys setting up those different things, how do they know? I guess you wouldn't, but getting the people that are looking to, like, they don't have it yet, but they're shopping the thing. Like, oh, they don't have Infusionsoft yet, but they're looking to get it, or they already have it. Like, is it just based on the video they're watching that kind of lets you know?
So video they're watching, but that's also where I said the URL affinity. So you can also, one crazy thing is, we've even had people do, now we didn't do this for Infusionsoft, but we've had people do login.clickfunnels.com, which is a whole different subdomain. And that's another hack that it's crazy. Now the jury's kind of out on how that works better than ClickFunnels, the main one as well. Just to clarify, I want to make sure I'm always, but you can even target subdomains as well. But the interesting thing is,
so you could target like the subdomain where the user logs in.
Where the user logs in. We've done that with ClickFunnels, not with Infusionsoft.
Why does it sound evil and yet amazing at the same time?
I know. I call it like the industry secret, because I've been talking to, I've spoken obviously with with other people that run ads at high levels, and some of which, many of which do YouTube ads, right? And so I know major companies that are doing this with their competition, right? So specifically, there's, and we've worked with several mattress companies. This is actually one that I didn't work with, but this is somebody that I know, and I was speaking with them, and they do this, against a different person. It wasn't this company, but they do it to Walmart. So people go to walmart.com/mattresses. They run their ads to people who are visiting those sub URLs or on similar sites.
Interesting. So
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then they wonder about GDPR stuff and like privacy.
Well, yeah. So the funny thing is, some of these things you can't do in the UK or in Europe. It's the same thing. Household income, whatever, because obviously we're running, mostly in the US, but then we're running UK, Australia, Canada, and a couple other places. And so when we're doing that, we're like, oh man, the UK, we can't do that top 20%, because it really makes a huge difference with the household income. And the crazy
It
thing is
does.
Google
What
has
ends up happening when
classified.
you do that? Sorry. What ends up happening?
I have discovered, this is going to blow you away, blow listeners away. So the big thing for us is booking strategy sessions. So
Yeah.
applications. These are people booking a call with our team. You know, it's basically go over YouTube ads is a good fit, and then obviously we can upgrade them or point them in the right direction if they need to. But you know, obviously the goal is if they're a good fit, we're gonna enroll them into one of our programs. And so what we do is, you know, basically with this is we're actually able to target and get people that are on these different, you know, on these different websites to come through, and we're tracking the application metric. But it's not just that. When we're talking about household income, which is what we're going into,
Yeah.
is we've made a shift to top 20% because I noticed that not only are we getting higher quality leads from the top 20%, but our applications are cheaper for higher quality people in the top 20% of income earners.
Interesting. What does
So,
that tell you? Does it the people that not in that category click
so
more?
leads are cheaper for lower income levels because they're like, I'm really interested and I've got some time, I'm going to look at this.
Yeah.
But the people that go through the funnel and actually book a call, and I think the reason for that is throughout our whole funnel, we're telling people to only book a call if they're serious, you know, and if they're like a business owner, if they have this and that, you know, or whatever, if they
really
have
want to
like,
grow, only if you
yeah,
really want to grow.
yeah, and the reason that we say that too is it's genuine. It's like, you know, we're
Yeah.
not like, this is not a get rich, you know, kind of thing or whatever. This is
Right.
this is serious. Like if you have a business, you want to get more people coming through. This is YouTube ads, and
Yeah.
you know, and obviously you can make a lot of money with that. But it's like if you have a business and you need to get more leads, more sales, more people in your pipeline, YouTube ads, that's what we're gonna do. And so I think that's why I was blown away too. And so I was like, why are we paying more for lower quality leads that aren't converting as well? Because you can see purchase metrics too. Although that's as you get further and further down the line, you know, the attribution gets a little more murkier, as I'm sure you know, right?
Sure.
So the perfect attribution is a little tricky. Obviously, there's different tools and stuff that you can use, but it's really, really interesting when you start diving into that. And so we've rolled this out across, you know, clients, and it's incredible. We've got a client right now that helps, that is basically a real estate investment coach. You know, they basically help people build a real estate investment portfolio. And what we're doing with him is we're targeting high net worth, you know, top 20% of income earners who are watching videos on real estate. And they're also, you know, have some degree of like business kind of background. And so that's our triangle, like our 3D YouTube ads. And he actually just filmed a video called Under the Hood. I threw it on YouTube and over on my Facebook group too. But Under the Hood, taking a look at like a snapshot of one of his campaigns, the last 2 months, he has, we've been scaling this up over time, $99 phone call applications to top 20% of income earners, right? If you think about it, the KPIs, the metrics.
So like all the way through is the people that actually take the phone call. Cost of acquisition essentially is like paying $100.
Yes, take the phone call. Exactly. Cost of phone call. I don't know what his off the top of my head, and obviously our big metric is to get the applications. I don't know exactly how many he's converting, but in kind of the high ticket or coaching or consulting world, a very common number is 20%. You want to be higher than that, right? But you don't really want to be lower. If you close 1 out of every 5 strategy calls that you get on, you can do the math there, right? If you're paying $99 per call, right, or $100 per call, if you get a $500 client acquisition cost for multi-$1,000 program, you're making a really, really good return.
You
right
pay
there.
That all day. You just keep
exactly, and we scale that campaign up to $1,000 a day in ad spend.
Really, $1,000 a day in an ad spend?
And so it went from, and there's a little bit of diminishing returns as with anything. But here's the thing: if you do this on Facebook, oh my God, up and down, up and down. With this campaign,
God forbid,
started out at $80. Started out at $80 per application. Right now, it's sitting at around $110, $115 per application. The average over 2 months is $99.
Yeah.
And that's the video that I recorded. But you can see there, yes, it went up. But that's going from $100, or no, I think actually $200 a day up to $1,000 a day. And so, obviously it's the same thing. $115 phone calls that if you convert 1 out of every 5 or better, I mean, that's like the benchmark, right? You want to do better than that. I mean, it's a real recipe for success. And that's what we get on and we tell people about. It's like, look at the numbers and look at what's possible. And the other thing though too is the reason that I can be so confident at his conversion numbers, and I know he's converting, like I know he's getting a lot of sales though too. I don't know his exact.
Yeah, he wouldn't keep doing. He wouldn't scale you up to
exactly. It would be. It was like let's. How much can we spend?
$365,000 a year.
Yeah, I know. It's the question that he asked
That's
for me.
amazing.
And so essentially, you know, with that campaign, we know they're top 20% of income earners. Yeah. That's the crazy part. Yeah. And if you want to hear something even more crazy, the metrics there with the most recent within the last like 2 weeks, it's been about around 115. Or actually, no, I think this is the whole time. Sorry, the whole time is $99 the average. 11 to 20% income earners is around $125, and it's $90 per application for top 10% of income earners. Crazy. It's cheaper for the top 10% than it is for the 11 to 20.
Right, for the call.
For the call, exactly.
Yeah,
so leads, typically it tends to be a little bit different in that, like, technically if you're advertising to people, you know, the top income brackets are more desirable. So you might pay more for a view or for a lead, but those leads will convert more, not only into applications, but also into sales on the back end.
Right. If you do it right, to your point.
If you do it right.
Otherwise they're skipping your shit because they don't.
Oh yeah, exactly. But it's crazy when you look at it. And it's really cool.
So why isn't everyone doing this?
I think that's the thing. Like, I don't know.
Is everyone doing this? And I'm like, just not me.
Well, no. Well, that's the thing. And again, like, you know, that's what I've been preaching. So I've been, you know, we'll talk about my background in a second, but you know, we've been doing YouTube ads for businesses, for business owners the last 3 or 4 years. Obviously, I've been doing YouTube ads in general last 5-6 years. But YouTube ads specifically for businesses, coaches, consultants, course creators, like online business owners, B2B as well, right? So people who are in this space. And, you know, what I found is people more and more are getting fed up with Facebook and all of their antics. The other thing too is you can say a lot more on YouTube than you can on Facebook, right? Yeah. You know, you don't have to worry about talking about client results. I can say we've helped our clients generate multiple 8 figures. You know, you got to be careful over on Facebook. You say some things like,
do they have rules? Like,
Facebook has, they've got crazy rules. Like, you know, you say the wrong thing, you're going to get like shut down. And, you know, if you go around, if you like kind of poke your head into different circles and you just ask people like, have you guys, you know, anybody gotten shut down on Facebook? It's like, I don't know. 6 out of 10 people are going to raise their hand and say that they did at some point, not permanently. You know, some people get their accounts back, but hey, that's a major disruption. Usually
you're just saying the wrong thing, like saying results. Yep. I mean, are they trying to avoid the pyramid scheme people in the,
I think ads? They don't have good enough differentiators between what's true and what's not. And so they think anything, you know, like if I talked about some of those ROAS or returns or whatever, they're going to flag that automatically.
Interesting. So that means somebody has to watch it and go like,
I think they have algorithms and they have backup manual checks. So I have, you know, obviously, you know, I have good friends who, you know, do Facebook ads. I also have good friends. I mean, I know a lot of people who run Facebook ads, and it's a game too, you know, and also we have some, you know, middle of funnel. So some people come in through YouTube and then, you know, we're going to hit them everywhere in Facebook, LinkedIn, et cetera. Right.
Yeah.
But you know, it's one of those things where there's so much more you can do on YouTube, and it's video. Right. You know, it's just connecting with somebody's face and even hearing somebody's voice too. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just a huge believer in, you know, somebody actually connecting on a deeper level with you as opposed to just an image ad on Facebook. Yes, you can do video, but the audio's off by default. It's not really built for video. YouTube's a video viewing platform,
right?
Where you only pay if somebody watches 30 seconds. It's an unfair advantage. And that's why, you know, you wonder why more people aren't doing it. Google ran a study a couple years ago where they found out that 68% of people between the age of 18 to 48 make purchase decisions based on YouTube ads. 68%. You might be like, wait a second, that's more than half. You might even be thinking that you don't make purchase decisions based on YouTube. But here's the thing. Think about it. Last time you were going to buy a smartphone, or, you know, maybe you're going to look up that gimbal I told you guys about, or, you know, you're looking for your dream car. You're using YouTube to inform those purchase decisions. You're going to YouTube, you're watching a video, and you're purchasing. But only 9% of businesses advertise on YouTube.
Wow.
Huge discrepancy, huge area for us to go in and take advantage of it. Total blue ocean on YouTube right now compared to Facebook, where everybody and their uncle is running ads. They all look the same. They're all getting it from the same few, you know, people who are teaching those. versus on YouTube being authentic and creating a video. I also just love the fact that every ad's different. Your ad is going to be your ad. It's not going to be the same copy that's just tweaked a little bit, the same type of image or
Line
stock
one,
photo.
line two, image. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Random
Exactly.
display ad that no one wants to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You know, I was thinking, I did. One of the purchases I made was this backpack to go
Mm-hmm.
hiking. It's a Osprey Talon
Yeah.
33. And I was like, what size should I get? Because there's like 22, 28, or like 33. And that's like how many liters you have in storage, right? And it's like, or should I get the 54? And which one works the best for Kilimanjaro? And, you know, so I remember just going on YouTube and even just looking up people, and they're like, wearing it. And I remember seeing this one guy in like the Highlands of Scotland wearing this thing. I'm like, that looks cool. It was red too. I'm like, that looks
Yeah.
great. I want to, that looks awesome. Sweet. And then I bought it because of that. They probably can't track. I doubt, you know, Osprey knows that I was geeking out on some of their super fans, but hey, Osprey, I did. And yeah, exactly like you're saying. And for those, the ones that you maybe don't know enough about, and it's not like a knee jerk, let me go buy some ice cream. It's like, no, it's considered sale. Like a lot of people listening, you know, B2B, complex sale, you're considering
Yeah.
it, whether it's technology or healthcare, finance or something. They're trying to help buyers make these complex decisions. And a backpack's like a mini, I made it more than it needed to be probably, but I
Yeah.
was like geeking out on it. And yeah, it's like, watching a video and seeing people do that, it was huge. So, wow, but only 9% of businesses are doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Jeez.
especially in the B2B too, like where, and a huge thing that a lot of our clients do that are in B2B or consulting or whatever is they're using webinars, right?
Yeah.
Webinars are a huge
Oh,
B2B
dude,
tool.
I do one a week for
Yeah,
sure.
and that's what we do is
Yeah.
webinars. And so here's the crazy thing. I've heard people tell me on Facebook, and I don't believe this by the way, but people have told me about Facebook. They're like, webinars are dead. You know, we're running Facebook ads. But here's the problem. We both know webinars are far from dead. They work incredibly well. They're all talking about, okay, we're just going to do like attention spans decreasing like we were talking about earlier. We'll just do like a 5-10 minute training. But here's the thing. You're kidding yourself if you really think that a 5 to 10 minute training has the same value and weight as an hour-long webinar.
True.
It's just that maybe it's the platform that's the problem. It's not the webinar. It's the platform you're running ads to. Because on Facebook, think about it. People are, like we talked about before, are scrolling through on Facebook and they just see like a link to register for a webinar. Are they in the webinar watching mindset?
Hell no.
No, exactly. We've all done it. We were like, that looks interesting. Maybe I'll watch it at some point, and then you just wait for the replay, if at all. I mean, that's if you're
Right.
lucky. People don't even really, you know, on Facebook. But on YouTube, people, let's say somebody like the Infusionsoft example, somebody's actually looking up how to use Infusionsoft.
That's a great
You
point.
get in front of them and you say, you know, you basically educate, you provide some value, and then you say, on our webinar, I'm going to show you exactly how this works and
That's
show
a
you.
really good point.
They're in video watching consumption mode. What's a webinar other than a longer form video? People get blown away when I talk about the average watch rate, the view rate on our webinar. Now, it isn't every hour on the hour webinar, so it'll depend. You know, if you do live webinars, it's a little bit different. But every hour on the hour webinar and every webinar that we have running in the background, the average view rate is over it's over 55% with us and our clients. Ours is closer to 60%. And here's the crazy thing too. We have an hour and 8 minute long webinar. Our average watch time is 53 minutes. So on average, our clients are getting between a 50 to 60% show up rate. People who register for the webinar show up to the webinar. Right. And for us, now obviously this is not saying to other people, but for our webinar, hour and 8 minutes, 53 minutes is the average watch time. And we come in with our offer to book a call at 45 minutes. That's the power of YouTube ads to webinar. It is an incredible combination. And we're doing the same thing, right? We're running top income brackets, people who are watching videos. Maybe they're watching a video on marketing or advertising or YouTube ads, or a big one for us is people watching on Facebook ads. And we get in front of them talking about why YouTube's better. And then layering it with business owners.
Oh,
exactly,
it's so dirty. Right?
I know.
I love
it. And then business owner and ClickFunnels, or people who've been to ClickFunnels.com. And we take that, and that's how we target that perfect buyer right in the center, and get somebody to sign up, watch the webinar, and then from there, book a call.
Hey, if somebody's looking at, you know, the Infusionsoft thing, by the way, Pardout's better. But anyways, if someone's looking at Infusionsoft videos, does it even matter what their income bracket is? Because, you know, or like, do you need to always get the VP? I mean, I do, you know, I'm saying like,
Yeah.
what if it's just like somebody on the marketing team? Do you have clients who have just been like, I don't care. Anybody that eats, sleep, like for me, eats, sleeps, breathes Pardot, I would want to hang out. Like, let's
Yeah.
hang out. But is there something to Google's algorithm where the does it matter that intent is so juicy? Like when you
Yeah.
mentioned, I forget that YouTube has intent. Sometimes it doesn't. If I ended up on this video
Yeah.
because I'm staying up till 1 and I don't know why, and it's YouTube and they've got me, I'm suckered in. But you're right. If I specifically do go after a video and it shows me another video, there's some intent there. So what's your thought? Like open it up the floodgates or still refine it down to the income?
So what I recommend for that would be top 50% of income
Okay.
earners. What I found is that the lower, this is going to sound bad or whatever, but it's just
Yeah.
marketing, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's the data doesn't lie, but the lowest quality traffic is that low. They don't even break it up. They're basically like top 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then lower 50%. Everybody, for the most part, unless you're selling, like if you're selling B2B or anything like that,
Yeah.
get rid of lower 50%. Now, if you're
Really?
selling like more,
What is that 50% that makes it bad? Like, and I believe you, I trust you.
yeah.
So, is it just like, does it mean like people that just don't make money? Or I know it's marketing, but
It's the
what is?
lower 50% of household incomes, but across America. So one thing I think that is interesting, and obviously I'm a huge proponent. I obviously believe in lifting people up, but it's
Yeah.
not necessarily that like I don't have the program for that. So I got to target the people that I'm going to be reaching. So
Right.
I want people to be lifted up and everything. But it's interesting. There's studies that have run that the lower 50% of income earners have less than $1,000 in savings.
Right.
Now, that could work for a backpack or something like that, right? That could work because that doesn't actually matter. That kind of transcends
Right.
people. Even if they'll find a way, they're doing stuff like that. But for a B2B or deal, also they're less likely to be even in a company like that if they're in the lower 50%. Just realistically.
Do you think maybe they accidentally got on that video? Because I would have thought that the video would exclude them. Like, why would you
Yeah,
be on a
well, yeah,
video
yeah.
if
So
you're
that's the
Infusionsoft?
thing. You'll find a lot of crossover with a video like that. But let's say another example is if you're going after real estate investing or real estate type topics, right?
Oh, for sure.
Anybody can look that up, and so
Anybody.
that I think is a better example. So maybe what you're doing alone, but in that case too, there's no downside to exclude it because you think there's really not going to be that many there anyways.
There might
But
not be. Yeah, but I guess
yeah,
to your point, worth a test. Knowing like, okay, maybe even split it. I probably can like split it in two groups. Here's the bottom 50%.
yeah,
Aleric said is not going to work out for me. Let's see if
yeah,
he's right. And when
yeah.
it proves right, you can be like, I told you so.
I know we've had a bunch of clients. There's two things. There's that, and then there's also the display network on YouTube, which is basically like it's a video ad, but it shows up on mobile apps and on like other websites. And then we tell people to basically exclude those two things in general.
Don't do
Now,
those because it's more like
yeah,
a Facebook display ad, and it's
yeah,
not.
yeah. Well, exactly. It's the same. Exactly. The same thing is there. And every once in a while, there are people like, well, I'm going to test it. And then they're like, okay, the test turned out like this. The exception though, is if it is something that's like e-com or something that's like more mass market, then of course that is something. Or we do have people who have things that are designed and geared towards people and lifting them up, like teaching them how to make their first few dollars online, like, or however that
Sure.
happens to be, or, how to, learn how to use ClickFunnels and to build, build yourself up. We have people who target students, so they wouldn't do that either. We have somebody who, literally like, basically what they do is they help students build like resumes and things like
Sure.
that. Right.
Sure.
And so, there are cases that's the case, but with B2B or like those examples we were talking about, that's where, usually you're going to want to target higher income brackets.
Right. And I even think about myself, right? Buying presents for the people. I love like surprising with like crazy cool gifts. And for myself, I'm like cheap as hell, So like
Yeah.
Google may think I'm like, they may be confused. Like this Casey guy, like he's buying these nice things for people, but like comes to himself like, dude, buy another pair of boots already. Your logo's falling off. Let's go. So yeah, interesting. Always good to test, but it's good to know that there's this, look, you've been testing and these are the things you're seeing. And it really matters when you come to targeting. One of the questions that comes up, like your hooks were awesome, and it doesn't hurt that you probably rehearsed the hell out of that.
Yeah.
But you're like a really likable guy, and you got like You got hair. I got a blue hat. Like, I don't know. Like, you seem like a great guy. So when it comes to like the spokesperson or, you know, a lot of these people listening, they're not the CEO. It's not the consultant. They're part of a team. Do they
Mhm.
need to get the CEO? Can it be just a random marketer? Is there something special about those people? And what's your take?
Yeah, so I think the thing is being natural, right? We talked about this
Mm.
towards the beginning, is picking up
Right.
your camera and recording a video. You can use a gimbal and an iPhone, but if you're a part of a team, and we work with a lot of people who are part of teams that, especially with
Yeah.
the larger companies, we're working with their marketing team or even a subsection of the marketing team, right? And when we do that, we work with the spokespeople. There could be a spokesperson. Sometimes if it's more product oriented, then you can kind of rely more on the product. There's a few different ways to do it, right? So one is you might have somebody in your area that's a good spokesperson. Doesn't need to be the CEO of the whole company. It's a big company, right? You can
Sure.
take somebody in your marketing department, that might be a good spokesperson for it, right? Especially if it's, some type of company where it's B2B, right? Where you're selling to other businesses.
Yeah.
You're just a representative of what your company does. If it's a product or like software, like online thing, then obviously you let that do the talking. And yes, you might be the one presenting it, but again, same thing. People resonate with natural, right? We tune out ads that feel like they're overly produced. Like we're talking, that was a big myth at the beginning,
Yeah.
kind of going back full circle to that. It's like, if you can create something that feels natural, and I understand sometimes you need to get approval and stuff, but obviously, just doing it and creating that video. There is a hack though. There is a hack if you have something that is, especially something that's like a software or something that's like a
Yeah.
product. If you're in the B2B or consulting or that kind of space, really you within the company, whether you're the marketing person or you're somebody who is able to be a spokesperson, right? Somebody within the company should be the face of that, or at least introducing them to that. You don't need to be the face of the rest of the company, just at least for the marketing. But when it comes to products and like online things, we have what we call the influencer method. And this is where you can actually, instead of hiring a big studio or a big spokesperson, we had people do everything. But
I'm sure.
one way that you can do it, and this is a hack, is you can hire an influencer at rock bottom prices, have a double whammy of they'll post it on their YouTube channel so you get some organic exposure, and then you run that as an ad. So you basically hire an influencer for a few $100s to produce a video that feels natural because it's natural to them. You can give them the bullet points of your script. We actually have we have a templated email to request that,
That's
and a
cool.
way to work with them. And we've helped some of our clients do this, right? We call it the influencer method because you get a high production video, better than a high production video too, because it feels natural because it's a YouTuber. They're
Yeah.
reviewing your product, right? Or not review. You can't call it a review. That's like one of the rules. But they're doing a curated video of your product, right? They're showcasing it. They're doing whatever, or your software, and they're talking about it. And then you take that video and run it as an ad. And we even have ways to pitch it. And you're like, hey, just sign here, add to the contract that we can run this as an advertisement, right? You have to the legal or whatever. But the way that you bring it to them is say, not only are we going to pay you for this, and we're going to give you this product for free, but we also want to run this as an ad and get you more exposure and more subscribers for your channel.
Nice.
It's oh man, it is a huge hack, and it's something we've helped a variety of clients with. But
I mean, it's a
called
fantastic
influencer.
idea, but I can see how getting your help with it, because it's like, we know the first thing about a YouTuber contract to make sure it can be an advertisement, but
Yep.
to have you kind of shepherd that along. Right. And they're good at it. Right. So I'm thinking about some of my favorite travel bloggers, not that I
Yep.
would hire them for my stuff, but like for some travel company, like, yeah, they're so cool and they're so polished. And even then, if they make polished video, it's still neat. Doesn't feel like an ad.
Yep.
Like Kara and Nate, they're travel.
Yeah, I love them. I love
Don't
them.
you love those guys?
Yeah. I saw that they recently did one for Simply Save. They did an ad for Simply Save.
Oh,
I was
did
like, they
they?
should run that as an ad. Because they're doing the van, right? So I don't know if you're.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I love it. But see, they're so funny, right? Where you have
They're just so fun, but they're
Oh
like
yeah.
really good videos. They must be using gimbals like crazy.
Oh,
But
I know.
it looks
And then
good.
yeah.
But it still
And
feels like it's just a couple going on a trip.
Exactly. And obviously I mean, I'm a huge fan too. That's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, we love to say some of the same YouTube content, but they actually recently, cause they got the van, cause the travel or whatever, as you know, they did a video on Simply Safe, which obviously is sponsored video, and it's good. I'm glad that they have sponsors, in this times, right? Cause obviously the travel is
Sure.
harder or whatever. They basically did a video on how they kind of hooked it up, but it also is content too. It's basically, everybody loves their content, but then they're also sponsored by Simply Safe to secure their van. But here's the thing. I bet you Simply Safe isn't doing this, but what they could do is they could run that video as an ad.
Oh.
They've made an ad already. You could take that video and run it as an ad for new people, even if they aren't already
So it was
subscribed.
like a TV ad or
No, as a YouTube ad.
No, but what did they do already? What?
So it's a YouTube video. So they basically just published a YouTube video featuring Simply Safe.
Karen and Nate were just like, hey, we use Simply
yeah,
Safe.
exactly,
You guys
exactly.
sponsored us. Hey, cool.
Yep.
Simply
Exactly.
Safe, you're saying they should grab that and then use that like gangbuster style. They should be putting that out there with $1,000 a day kind of spend and just get it out there.
Exactly.
Every time you search for Simple Safe or home protection, see, now they're getting an ad on our show too, which is great.
Exactly.
Hey,
But then they would probably like that too, because they're going to say, hey, you already have a big subscriber base. We're going to introduce you to even more people. And so now they become like a spokesperson. And so it's a huge win-win between a brand and an influencer. And it's authentic, natural content. That's actually where I even started with some of these YouTube ads. And I know at some point we'll kind of go through the journey, but when I was doing YouTube ads for mobile apps, which was kind of like, it's my YouTube channel originally was a mobile app-based channel.
Got it.
AppFind. And was taking those videos that I'd make, basically featuring an app and then running those as ads. And we work with big companies on that because now it's not technically, you can't call it a review. There's rules against that, but it's a curated video, right? Review style video showcasing something, but it really feels natural. It has that authority. And even if somebody hadn't seen me, or maybe they hadn't seen Karen, Nate, or whatever, you could run that video and there's an authenticity that people feel, right? When they watch something that is, that people are who they say they are.
Yeah.
And so it's valuable.
You could target Karen Nate's channel. So every time you go to watch one of their videos, you see more of them and you won't be annoyed because you're like, I'm here for them anyways. And it just keeps repeating the message over and over and over again. So you're looking at them in Azerbaijan and here they are with Simple Safe, Simply Safe. So they could double down on that. They can get people in other channels, people looking for all the broad stuff as well as their own brand. Yeah, they could totally do that up.
Exactly. And not enough people are looking at that as a possibility. And that's especially, you take a bigger company and that's a strategy that you can apply for a mass market type product or something that is going to appeal to a wider base is you partner with one of these influencers and you implement it.
Why are you this voice in the wilderness, like bringing people to the Nile here? And why do not, I can't even talk. Why aren't people doing this? I know you said like 9%. And what is it? I mean, why are people trying Facebook when they should be doing YouTube? Is it they don't want to do production or they're scared of production?
Yeah, I think people are scared of the video. There's a lot of content out there talking about, Facebook ads. And that's why I'm trying to, get out here and I'm doing podcasts and I'm doing, free content. We'll talk about my webinar at some point, but doing all this different content and we're teaching people YouTube ads. And then obviously our clients, that's where we work hands-on with them and help them set everything up. But, I think the thing is people just don't know how valuable this is. And I think one big misconception that people had too, other than just the videos, is people think YouTube's a branding platform. They think, oh, it's branding. It's not conversions today.
Branding.
But that's not true. It's both branding.
There's another myth. Smash it.
Another myth that we're going to smash with a hammer, right? It's also conversions today. Because if somebody has intent and they're watching a YouTube video on Infusionsoft, right? If they're watching a YouTube video on marketing and I run my ad in front of it, if in a hypothetical world they're watching either a travel video or a video on home security and Karen and Nate pop up before that video with their natural video, but featuring Simply Safe, right? These are all ways to get conversions immediately, get people to click the link and actually sign up and take that next step or whatever that happens to be. And I think people are starting to realize that. We've worked, with hundreds and hundreds and we're, if not over 1,000 already, we're nearing that really soon.
You're a baller. You're a video baller.
Yeah, exactly. So we work with lots of clients. And so it's one of those things where we're chipping away, we're making it happen, and people are seeing the power of YouTube.
You're like Boardwalk Empire of the YouTube world. YouTube Mafia right here. This is awesome.
Oh man.
It is an honor, Godfather, to speak
Oh.
with you and learn from you. So I feel more at ease on the spokesperson thing. I mean, I could see either myself or other people. Hey, do you know Ethan Butte? Have you met him?
It sounds familiar. I don't think I don't think I met him, but
I'll introduce you to him. He works at a company called BombBomb, and they do like little personalized videos that you can be dropped in emails, and people like, you're like, hey, Aleric, how's it going? You know, and like, it's really cool, and I love it. But I had a conversation with him on the podcast, and I was like, I don't want to say nervous, like me nervous, but I was like, well, what if you send these videos and what if people think you're stupid, you know? And I think maybe there's something with the video around that where it's like, ooh, me be the spokesperson. I eventually got over that where I'm like, I'm stupid. I'm sending this video and it's going to be okay. But he kind of coached me through like, yeah, it's just, you just sort of like, you work on that and you realize it's okay. It's fine. Don't try to be perfect. And to your point, we don't need the high production value. We just need authentic people. You get on there, you believe in it. Like you were like, look, Facebook ads suck. These other things are way better. Here's why. I'll tell you all about it. Like, let me just teach you. Come children. Let me teach you. And people are like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll take you up on that. You seem like a cool guy. You're not selling me vitamins, you know? So I don't know. It seems I'll introduce you to him, but there's definitely something there where people, I think, are a little nervous. Video, you're definitely more open to criticism. Like, oh, do I have a pimple today? And am I going to say the right thing? And all that.
Yeah, and I think the big thing, I think that is one of the areas. I think the big thing, and we've worked with clients on this too, is understanding that natural actually works better and being yourself works well. Now, not to say there aren't things that we can touch up about certain things. And honestly, what we tell people is feel like you're overdoing it, right? You know, energy, right? It's like, you know, people talk about, you know, like camera adding like weight or subtracting. No. The biggest thing the camera does, it takes away energy. So you need to have more energy, right? Almost feel like you're a caricature, you know, of yourself or whatever, like, you know, or just imagine Billy Mays. Like I was a huge Billy Mays fan. And just imagine, right, yourself being like, it would actually, I mean, obviously not exactly like Billy Mays, you know, but you know what I mean? Like imagine with that energy, right? And that type of thing. And it's like, I think it's one of those things where when people realize, wait a second, I have, you know, the ability to just do it and just get on camera and people are going to resonate with that. And, you know, it's going to feel funny to you, but you're going to overemphasize things and use hand motions. And, you know, and also this is part of who I actually am. But I also, like, when I'm recording a video, you know, I don't overthink it, but I also know that, like, all right, I'm going to get into it. I'm going to get into state, you know, whatever your thing is, right? If it's meditation or Tony Robbins priming or whatever, you know, just, you're going to get into state and you're going to like, be like, all right, let's go and let's just film it.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about Tony Robbins in a second. But yeah, I totally hear. I remember when I was doing some radio back in the day, they were telling me like, oh, the radio takes away 10% of all the energy. So if you think you're being energetic, actually you're coming across like a boring idiot. So like step it up. And I guess the same thing for technologists. You think it's energetic, but actually if you just, hi guys, how you doing? Like, it's probably your conversion rates are not exactly where they're going to need to be. If there's passion, I feel like people respond to passion. Maybe the energy equaling passion. If they see that, they're like, wow, this guy believes this, I should probably listen, as opposed to they don't really believe what they're saying.
Exactly. It's that energy and that passion. And when people see that you're authentic and you're actually excited about it, like I'm excited to show people why YouTube ads are better. Same thing with these podcasts. I'm really excited to talk about YouTube ads because I do believe what you're saying too is like more people should be doing this. And I think that, you know, that you have a service or a product or coaching, consulting, whatever it is that's going to help people and is better, and people's lives are going to be better, businesses are going to be better with your product or service. And so you just bring that passion and belief to your ad, and that's what's going to help you succeed.
You know, I'll go with you on that. You know what? If you really care about your customers, then you need to be on YouTube. And if you're not on YouTube, you just must not care about your customers because they need to be brought to the light.
Yeah. Well, you heard it right here.
Call them, people. Call them.
Yeah.
Not to turn into an infomercial, but I'm sold. Sounds good. In fact, I was going to say, I don't want everyone to do video. I know you do, but I only want people listening to the show to do video. So they have that like pristine advantage over everyone else who just letting that channel go to the wayside. So yeah, I need to step into that and
Yeah.
get on board. Man, how did you become this wizard, this all-knowing, the tree, the all-knowing tree of life of YouTube? Like, who are you, man? Take me back, like
Yeah.
little Aleric days. Like where'd you grow up? Were you always big into video?
Yeah, yes. I've always loved video. I think,
Yeah.
I grew up, kind of, so I'm here in Boston, but I grew up in kind of the suburbs. It's actually kind of funny because we talked about, we know some of the similar areas,
Yeah.
and so, kind of grew up in the suburbs of Boston, and, I've always been entrepreneurial and loving
Sure.
video. I remember the two earlier memories of myself is myself at the cliche lemonade stand, right? Like the classic, young entrepreneur, right? A lemonade stand and everything. But then the other memories is learning, editing and video editing and being
Wow.
excited about video. And I remember, I wasn't really allowed to like do video games growing up. And so I was taught to be creative. And so, for, Christmas and birthdays and things like that, I would get video, I got a video camera. And I remember, at one point, I got the entire, obviously it was like the box set, like, you load like a million CDs in, but, Adobe like Creative Suite. And, and basically I got that. And I taught myself how to edit in Adobe Premiere,
Wow.
when I was like 9, right? And so,
Wow.
yeah, it's kind of crazy. And so I basically was editing. I remember I was going on Video Copilot, the forums, learning how to
Oh
like
yeah,
do
sure.
Adobe. Some people will get that, they'll be like, oh, I was in those forums too, but Video Copilot, learning of After Effects and video editing and all of this. And I was
Jeez.
recording at the time, like I was recording like sketch videos with my friends, like
Yeah.
whatever, kind of classic. Obviously I remember YouTube coming out and being so excited because before that, like just regular hosting and other, I think there's also like Newgrounds, but your video gets
Video
pulled
was
down.
tough before YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You had to like host it. There was all, yeah, it was tough. And so I remember being so excited. And I created some sketch channels, but then, what I did was in 2009, I created AppFind, which is a channel, I was reviewing mobile apps, technology tutorials. I was really, Apple kind of fanboy. I love, updating
Yeah.
Mac and iPhone and all of that. And so I remember doing different videos, and what I was doing is I was showing people how to use their iPhone, how to use, all of their like devices, how the best apps. And the channel started growing, and it grew more and more. And I was growing this,
Yeah.
through like when I was young, right? And I was growing this through high school and then into college, right? And it became the largest app review channel. I mean, today, and I don't do as much with it right now, or I mean, I don't personally. It's still growing, but it's more of like a 4-hour work like month for me, to
Oh
be honest.
wow.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like 1 to 2 hours like a week, and like max, and that's it. And it's this YouTube channel, like 450,000 subscribers. And what we started to do, and this was like a while ago, we started to get a lot of sponsors. So we got a lot of sponsors. We got accepted in the YouTube Partner Program when it was like
Wow.
invite only kind of thing, and then we started to get sponsorships and applications. Were paying us thousands of dollars to promote their apps on our channel and all kinds of
Wow.
things. And I remember, it was one particular app, and this was about this was about 6 years ago now, actually. So it's about 6 years ago now. There's one particular app, and it was like a social media networking app. We did a video, we uploaded it to YouTube, and it got thousands of downloads, kind of like, like a Karen Nate promotion, right?
Sure.
They upload a video and a lot of people will go. Like
Yeah.
they've got the Surfshark. Now they just did a Simply Safe one. They've done all kinds of different promotions or whatever. But they publish a video, people do it, but then the video is kind of like the video's been published. So they're like, how do we get more downloads? So I started researching, like, what if we run this as a YouTube ad? So we took $500 in 1 week. We got 11,000 users for their app.
Wow.
Yeah. It was incredible. And so, we got 11,000 users. And so I remember they called me up. So they were so excited. They actually, at the time this was like a company out of like Silicon Valley that
I hope
was
they sent you a fruit basket with a bottle of wine or something.
Yeah. So, well, then I work with another even bigger one. They gave me like they wanted me to, like, I was in college at the time, drop out of college, fly over there. They're like, you'll be the head of YouTube ads. Like, well, take over the world kind of thing.
Shit, you didn't do that? You stayed in school?
No, I wanted to. Yeah, I stayed in school and stayed in building because I knew I wanted, instead of the knight in somebody else's castle, I want to be the king of my own castle.
I get you, man. I get you.
My YouTube channel was paying for college, so I didn't really have debt. Right? So I had that.
Your YouTube channel paid for your college.
Yes. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Incredible. And I was making basically 6 figures a year on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I knew that what I wanted to do, though, was not be capped at that, at that kind of level. Because it was like kind of capped at like, 120, 150 a year, which is obviously, that's good. That's good money. But I knew I could do so much more. I wanted to build a business that wasn't as scalable. And right. I still have it running in the background. The cool thing is it's semi-passive income. Obviously, I have a couple of touch points and stuff. But
Hell yeah, dude.
Tim Ferriss, kind of like 4-hour
4-hour work week here.
Exactly. And so when I was like, all right, now I'm going to do YouTube ads for mobile apps. So I did YouTube ads for mobile apps. This was like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
We drove millions of downloads for apps. We basically became kind of known, like, hey, getting app launches and stuff. But then I started to get into the world of ClickFunnels. I was using, because I had kind of exhausted, I used my network. I sold to my network, right, of app developers that did promotions, and I sold them like marketing packages. But when I exhausted that, I was like, all right, well, now I'm going to run YouTube ads to a webinar about getting app leads, and then sell them in high ticket. And that was working really well. But then circles that I was in, because I found some coaches and some mentors around the ClickFunnels, like, how did you do that? Not the apps. But how did you get somebody from a YouTube ad to watch a webinar to become a client? I said, oh, well, yeah, that's just what I did. I mean, I'm like, that's easier than the app stuff. The app stuff, you're driving millions of downloads. Like, no, but that's more lucrative. And that's what I started realizing. Wait a second. Driving leads for high ticket sales or for course sales
way more valuable.
B2B is so much more valuable than a $1 app, or an app that's free plus, in-app purchase or whatever. And so that's when I started. The last 4 years, I've been YouTube ads, for basically for businesses. We work with a lot of, consultants, coaches, course creators, B2B kind of people in that area. And we have a done with you process. So it's really unique. Instead of it just being like a course where it's just training people to have to figure it out on their own. I don't believe in that, right? I want to be able to help people. There's no hands-on with a course. That's a problem. On the other side, you have agencies, but it's like a black box. You're paying them fees forever. You're not actually implementing this. You're not learning it.
Yeah.
What we have is a hybrid approach. We have trainings that people get lifetime access to, or step by step, but we're also hands-on. We have copywriters that are writing, scripts with them on a call. We're actually helping them set things up, optimizing, scaling their campaigns, and working with them hands-on to dial everything in.
Cool. And then some things that, you're not blowing it up like an agency would with like $1 million extra costs that, they could do themselves. That's a cool combo, man. And so you didn't drop out of school, and you stuck it out. You got the degree at the same time. When did you start that YouTube channel? You were like,
so I started
4 years old or something?
Yeah, I know. So I know the thing is I am younger, but I've always been, hungry and passionate. I'm a huge believer, like, the earlier start, the better, obviously, but there's never too late, right? Everybody, go out and go and just being passionate and motivated too. It's really incredible. But, I started the YouTube channel when I was 12, right? So that was back in 2009. So I'm 23 now. And just built the channel up or that channel, and then I built up my business AdOutreach, and we're growing from there. So it's really exciting.
I'm looking at your top video on AppFind. iOS 11 hidden features. 6.6 million views.
Yes.
What is that? That's amazing. And then next one is 6.1. 6, 5.2, 4.2, 3.9. Holy crapola.
Yeah.
Holy crapola.
Crazy.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. So, so you're having fun. Oh, quick question. How about podcasts?
Yeah.
If you can drive downloads of apps, could you drive downloads of podcasts? Yeah,
absolutely. So with podcasts now, we've done more, we've done with like Spotify, and we actually helped multiple musicians. It's kind of funny. We had somebody who's kind of like similar to Taylor Swift, and millions of we helped her. She now has over, I think, 2 million like subscribers, and
nice.
There's been a few different people that so we've helped people with that, but it's the same thing. So with podcasts, absolutely. Here's what I will tell you about podcasts though. I love running podcasts, and obviously, with your permission, we'll talk about this too. I would love to run this as a retargeting ad. They work incredibly well too as just content that you're hitting people with as a retargeting ad. There's also something called a discovery ad, where that's not the ad that appears in front of a YouTube video, but alongside, right? So that says like a recommended. Those are good for longer form, like hour-long videos, right? So if people click on it, they're like, oh, I want to hear the podcast. Oh, wow, you guys are really diving into some things. And so absolutely, actually, the client I mentioned before that does the real estate investment, he has, I'm not sure, I don't think he has a podcast, but he's been on podcasts like me, right? So I've been on podcasts, and we're taking one of his podcasts, and that's one of his main retargeting ads. And so you could grow a podcast, a user base. You could also grow a list off of that too. And so there's so many different ways that you could do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I had a buddy I was talking to the other day, and he was like, there's a bunch of things out there for podcasts now because they're awesome. And I can't disagree. I just do it for fun. So I don't know if was your YouTube channel the same way? You're just like, you're doing it for fun, and then eventually like, oh, I'm making money. I'm like, this is kind of neat.
Exactly. I was doing it for fun. I was having a good time. It was actually kind of funny. Like I remember, back then I was on like live streams when the iPhone would come out, like Apple live streams, and there were other people there. Like I had a good friend, like this guy, Justin, and he'd kind of set up this live stream. I remember one time, Marquez Brownlee was on there, like MKBHD, and myself, and there was other guy, Austin Evans, who does like YouTube for like computers and stuff, and all of us were on there, like these tech YouTubers, and Marquez, he's gone off to his channel, like, huge.
Sure.
And unfortunately, I didn't stay in touch. I'm kind of kicking myself for that type of thing. But anyways, like I remember doing like live streams and just having a blast talking about like the latest iPhone and stuff. And so it's just been incredible to propel that into not only a career over there on YouTube, but also into YouTube ads. And I still get to do what I love, right? It's video, it's advertising, it's marketing. Yeah. But now I can impact even more people and help business owners and businesses.
Yeah, because his friend, I'll introduce you to him afterward. He was saying like he does a whole bunch of stuff for his podcast, but what he's been looking for is like he kind of like finagled his PPC agency into doing podcast promotion, but he really wants to promote the podcast. And this sounds like a way better way than just trying to drop in some PPC ads or God forbid, some Facebook ads.
So much better than PPC because he can take the video. There's such a thing as a YouTube discovery ad. This is perfect for growing a channel. And I even use some of this in my own channel, although I don't want to switch the fact. Obviously, a lot of my channel was grown organically, but later on, right, if we had a video we wanted to promote, you can do a discovery ad, which is basically an ad that feels like you naturally found it if somebody searches or alongside another video.
So dirty, YouTube. I love it.
And you click it, and then you go to the watch page, and then it feels like you naturally found it. So everybody knows an in-stream ad, even if it's really engaging, people know it's an ad. But this is like, it simulates a video somebody just stumbled across.
Sick. Hypothetical question for you. I may or may not have a time machine up here in Nashville, New Hampshire. So post-COVID, we'll wipe it down and everything. But if I let you use that time machine, you can go back in time and visit yourself right after you graduated college, or I'll allow earlier because you were just doing all sorts of crazy things. Maybe even the self where you were going to either do or not do the full-time job in Silicon Valley. If you could go talk to yourself, what kind of advice would you give yourself, knowing all the things you know?
Yeah. So I think the big advice that I would give is to really, and this is something we didn't really touch on here as much, but I think is really, I've learned the value of growing an incredible team. And so to really, trust the team, build a team, and get incredible people, around you as soon as possible. And that's something I think it took a little bit longer. Now, I would not change anything about the path that I've had. And so that is one thing. I don't know if that's the answer you want to hear. Like, I wouldn't change anything.
No, I'm whatever you want to say, man. You got the 6 million downloads.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In the decisions that I've made, and everything has gotten me to this point. But I think that one lesson that I've learned is, because I've always been, the entrepreneur that is making it happen. And one thing that I love now is I am surrounding myself in my team with incredible people who, some things, and actually, so no, I shouldn't even say that. Many things they can do even better than I can, and they're on my team with the thing that they're specialized in. And that was game changing. And I know a lot of people, that might be cliched advice,
Sure.
but it's something that I'd kind of buzzword heard, but now I'm experiencing, and it's incredible. And just to have people on my team that do different things, right? So, at one point I was doing all of the sales myself, and, then I have people who are better at that than I am, right? And
Yeah.
same thing, like I've got video editors on my team. I did the same thing with AppFind too, right? I basically hired video editors, script writers, people to do each task
Yeah.
because I knew that I could come up with a big picture. So I think it's really, I would not change anything, but that's something that I'm glad that I learned, and that I would, tell myself earlier, is to really, really look into surrounding yourself with A players and building an incredible team. We were talking about, the fun fact and, escape rooms and stuff like that. And I
Yeah.
don't know if I
Yeah.
stole
Yeah.
that question from you, but we just did a virtual escape room with my whole team. Well, not everybody was able to make it, but, like
A
three-fourths of my
virtual
team.
one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Yes.
know. We talked about how like you're big in escape rooms, and
Oh
so I need
yeah.
to pick I have yet to do a single one of them. But you did a virtual one. Was it easier or harder, or not as? Was it
So
different?
it was very different, and I cannot wait for the in-person ones to open up again.
Yeah,
Obviously, hopefully, things, and when it is safe, right? But hopefully things start to open up
totally.
more, and everything. But I love escape rooms. I've done over 3 dozen. I just, it's part of that being an entrepreneur, problem solver. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I love just solving like different puzzles and problems, and just, it's just exciting. And I also feel you can get any group of people together and
Mm-hmm.
you can bond over an escape room. Escape room and a dinner is a perfect,
Mm.
Saturday evening, or, an afternoon and evening activity, right? It's just like the bond, and then talk about it over food and be like, oh, that puzzle, and obviously it's harder to do that now, and hopefully we can get that
Yeah.
back soon. But a virtual escape room, um, and I didn't even really know this was a thing. And there's obviously a few of them, but more and more are popping up now. There's one in San Francisco. It's called it's called Reason, but I think you go to it's tryreason.com, I think, and it's a virtual escape room, and it's basically a rocket launch. And so essentially you have to solve these puzzles by going into a Zoom room, and you can direct somebody into solving these different puzzles. And we did it with the whole team. And there's also stuff that's off of the Zoom room too, where we had to actually, go to different places, and I don't want to say too much, right, but different websites, and, we
Huh.
were all coming up with putting pieces together, and it was just a blast, an incredible team building activity. And I think it's moments like that, right? Because sometimes it's easy to be like, all right, go, 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 let's hit these goals, let's go.
Right.
And also in a positive way, like let's go team. But then sometimes you just do something like a virtual escape room, or, obviously in the past you meet up with a team in person or whatever, if you have a remote
Yeah.
team, and you're just like, hey, I've really got a great group of people, and
Mm.
it's something that I'm really proud of. And I think that's something that like a lot of entrepreneurs get into and this might not apply to some of the people who are already part of a team who are B2B listeners, but like for entrepreneurs listening, right? Like kind of go it, do it,
Mm.
not necessarily on your own, but like kind of like, oh, I'm the main person, and I've got a couple of, but no, once you build a team, you can really rely on them, and build something, that you love.
Yeah, and when you mentioned the cliche thing, I found that whenever someone thinks, or we've been told that something is
Yes.
cliche, or it sounds cliche, it's actually because it's like absolutely true, right?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
I think what ends up happening is people that aren't experiencing it are like sad, and they try to defend themselves by saying it's cliche because they're sad that they're not in that situation. So I
Mhm.
think it's actually like doubly true.
Yeah.
That the people are really important. And you're right. Oh, that's cheesy, corny. No, it actually matters a lot. And I think sometimes, whether you're an entrepreneur or you have a team or a marketing team around you, or as you start becoming a manager, the old way, or how you kind of rose through the ranks, was like you got shit done and you were the person
Mm-hmm.
and you knew everything. And that's why they kept giving you more responsibility. And then there's this sort of learning curve where you need to start saying, okay, yes, I could do everything. And right now, maybe I'm better than everyone, but maybe there's someone who's better than me, and like a little humility. And we're just like, okay, but you're right. There's magic when you get people around you who are like, wow. And
Mm-hmm.
I've got that too, where you're like, I'm surrounded by people who are like way more organized than I am. And like when they start writing amazing copy, and you're like, yeah, let's send it. That's great. Or, people handle a situation with a client or with a product. And you're just like, it actually feels better because you're like, I'm not sure what I would have decided in that situation. So I'm glad you're here to have troubleshooted that. Like, it's great having people around you, and being not the smartest person in the room. can be challenging if you're not ready for it, but then it's so much more rewarding, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think it's just so incredible to build a team, and, also to build the culture and people around you, and people are as passionate, as you are about their aspect and about the company and the success. And I think that's something that I definitely love. And again, I wouldn't change anything, but that's something that I'm glad to have learned, and, something that I would pass on, and that I learned over time.
That's sick. That's sick. Well, let me know when the rooms open up again. I know someone who runs a couple of them in Boston. I'll try to connect you with her. Maybe you even know her. But when those things open up, sign me up. Like I'll it'd be great to go in some with you. And
yeah,
like
absolutely.
Dinner,
and it's so great. Like you also
fun.
in Nashville, that's like, where I grew up. We talked about the suburb where I grew up. It's basically just like 20 minutes north of that. So
down
it's kind of funny. Yeah. So it's small world, and absolutely
really
it's the same thing. I said, like, hey, yeah. So not just food. We'll do an escape room when things open back up to it. Sounds like a plan.
Totally. I'm kind of guy that likes to sit back and just like observe and like let the freaky people like go crazy.
Hey, don't. I mean, honestly, you do that, and then you're the one that pops in with this. Like, people are trying, like, what is going on? You're like, that goes there. And
then, you're like, hey, what's this up here, guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, you found the key.
Exactly.
Totally, man. Well, this is sick. Hey, okay, where can people connect with you? And I want everyone listening to be able to connect with you. I don't want anyone else not listening to you because I want everyone else. I feel like an infomercial, but anyways, I'm going to contact you afterward. But we're LinkedIn, Twitter's, all the places.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where can people go?
Absolutely. So I put together a gift page for everybody who's listening to this right now with a collection of resources. If you go to AdOutreach, that's ADOUTREACH, adoutreach.com/gift. You'll see a little video of me. Thank you for watching or listening to the podcast. Then underneath there, I have a link to our webinar on YouTube ads, how to get leads and sales. We also have a link to high ticket YouTube ads, more for kind of high ticket space. Yeah. And we also have a link to our Facebook group, YouTube Ads for Entrepreneurs. Cool. So you can also type that into Facebook, YouTube Ads for Entrepreneurs, constantly posting value in that. We just found Facebook groups a good area to just kind of have a community as well. Obviously we've got a YouTube channel.
You got to switch that over to Slack,
Yeah. I have heard people doing, exactly. But if you look me up on any of the major platforms, I guess Twitter is the only one I'm not as active on. I'm working on that. But if you look up, Aleric Heck or AdOutreach, we've obviously got a YouTube channel. I'm putting out content there constantly on, on everything and how things work. That's for AdOutreach, right? So obviously I have my other channel. But we also, I have my Facebook page and my LinkedIn page, and I'm posting on there as well. So feel free to connect with me. But the hub is good. Just go to adoutreach.com/gift. You'll see the links to everything and be able to go from there.
Sick, man. Well, this is great. I feel like I talked to you forever, but we got to get some notaries in here, and we're gonna go about our day. Maybe have you come back and talk some more stuff, just hang out and talk about the latest in marketing at some point.
Absolutely. I'm always down. Maybe the next time, just to tease it, maybe the next time is omnipresent retargeting and diving into being everywhere after somebody comes into your funnel, which is something I'm really strong on right now too. So.
Omnipresent retargeting.
Yes.
I mean, like it could get even worse, and it will. Just when you thought, like we all know about cooking people and Pardot and marketing automation, it's like, yeah, now YouTube knows everything else about you too. Mm-hmm. So yes, the Google does know things, and its AI will take us over one day. Man, this is so good. Thank you for coming on here, dude.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
For those people listening, if you learned something, and I freaking know you did because I have 2 pages of notes front and back over here, then share this with someone, right? LinkedIn's a great spot for that. Go on LinkedIn, share the link to this video, but put your thoughts in the top. This is what you learned, the takeaways. Maybe go get a gimbal, and the true views. And man, it's the best kept secret. Don't tell your competitors. Just go get on this thing. Man, I almost don't even want to promote this episode because I just want to go do it myself and not. But this is great, man. This is like super secret squirrel video stuff. I don't know, but do promote it, share with people. They'll be pleasantly surprised to have gotten this information from you. And again, man, Aleric, you're the man. Look forward to hanging out someday. And until then, we'll do some podcasts.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it as well. Thank you so much.
You bet, man. All right, for those listening, this has been the Hardcore Marketing Show. Catch y'all next time.